welcome to Unbound Gravel 2025. Now I'm coming to you from my garage, my little Suffer heat box. I'm sure you've heard all the hype about heat training, really picking up speed leading into Unbound. But let me tell you, as someone that has always struggled in the heat, I decided to jump on board. I've had what I feel like is pretty good adaptation, as I've had some good training in the heat. Then also we just got back from BWR Utah yesterday, where we got our first victory. So I will be one to tell you that I think it's worth it.
We made it to Salina. I need to do a workout. I'm 2 miles in, probably at least 4. Joe has an hour to hour and a half shakeout ride. It's currently raining, hence the rain jacket.
Alrighty, so we're here in Kansas. We're somewhere around an hour and a half away from Emporia, but I had a little open ride I gotta get done, so we're stopping early. It's been pouring rain for the last couple hours. A little bit of a lull right now, but looks like there's more coming, so we're trying to get going real quick.
I've been doing half a mile on a tempo and then half a mile recover. Just trying to have some fun. Here comes Joe. Woo! It's actually kind of fun.
All right, we are here. It's Thursday. The rain has finally stopped. About to head out to the ENVE Shakeout ride with Alexi and Willie, and we're gonna check out the beginning of the course, which hopefully isn't too muddy, but I remember from last year there was a little muddy section, and I'm interested to see what mile marker that comes at, so I know where to be at the front for that spot. So yeah, we changed our plans, just pre-riding from the start, out to Eskridge if I can make it there, hopefully, without getting too nasty, and that's the plan.
Okay, we're all gonna hang out. It's gonna be a little dirty. It's gonna be fun. That's what I know about.
All right, so a little change of plans. I am absolutely filthy. Rolled out with the ENVE crew, did one little loop. Instead of going all the way to Eskridge, I'm just doing another little one because I need to get all cleaned up. So anyways, I'm feeling really good that I got to pre-ride last year and race the course last year, as it looks almost identical because yeah, it's kind of a crap show out here and I just really don't want to destroy my bike too much before. So yeah, gonna rely on my knowledge from last year, remember what I remember, and a lot's gonna really depend on how the next 2 days pan out as well, because it is supposed to be dry the rest of the day. It even looks like the sun might come out before they planned, and then sunny and warm tomorrow could do a lot of drying. So it'll be a debate what tires to put on. I'm currently still running the gravel Pirelli H's that I ran for Utah. I figured I'd leave them on just in case it was super sticky. I might be okay with these guys, so I might run the 50s. I might try the Conti tomorrow, see what I think. Yeah, lots of decisions to be made, but we're gonna keep cruising, get home and get cleaned up, get some food, head to the expo, and yeah. Alrighty, so we are here. It is now Friday, day before the race. We had a very nice dinner at Good Life last night. Not exactly sure what cut of meat it was, but it was amazing. Woke up this morning and had some waffles and eggs while Kendra was up on an early morning long run. And I have decided to go to the 50s because it is very nice out. It got nicer out yesterday than was expected. And I think it's gonna dry up enough where I'll be solid with those. And I wanna eliminate as much risk of flatting, because last year I rode really well and then I flatted out in Little Egypt, and that's when the race was full gas, and no matter how good I felt, I was not getting back to that lead group from there. So we're doing what we can to mitigate the risk of flatting where the race is important and going on full gas. Like you can see, I still have room with the 50s, and this is about the same amount of room I had with 45s on my old bike, and I got through that mud last year, so it's not like I'm pushing it here. All right, tire swap is done. The sun is out. It's beautiful out here. We got 3 mile cruise to the expo, then we're gonna join up with the Cinch crew, talk a little bit about the course with them, then we're gonna go do our shakeout ride.
We know tomorrow is going to be a difficult day. We know tomorrow might not turn out as planned. We know there's so many B factors that are outside of our control tomorrow that might take us out, and therefore we cannot have a finish line expectation of a result that we're married to. Instead, we can only focus on our A game. We can only focus on what we bring to the table tomorrow and what we deliver.
Just keep looking good.
Just keep looking good. All right, we are here for the bike check. It is 4:50 right now, meaning we are 13 hours away from the start of Unbound Gravel 2025. So for this year, I am running the ENVE MOG frame set. So this has more clearance than what I had last year, and with that more clearance, I have bumped it up to a 50 in these Pirelli Gravel H's instead of the 45s that I ran last year. And the wheels that are lacing up the rubber are going to be the ENVE SES 4.5s. So those are a little bit more aero than my other wheel option. And then for the group set, I'm running a full GRX 2x system with DuraAce cranks. The reason I do that is so I can get a bigger gear range up front than what GRX offered. So this is a little bit special. It's going to be a 52 to a 34. Then I got a 1134 in the rear, so I've got a 1-to-1 ratio if I need it for any of those super steep punchy climbs. But I think it's going to be mainly a big ring day out there. On top of that, we've got the Garmin Rally power meter pedals, and they're going to be reading power to my Garmin 1040. I've said it many times before, I absolutely love the giant screen on this. I can have a nice big map up. It tells me when my next turn is coming and how long I have to have that turn. So that's a feature that I really love when I'm running the map. And yeah, that's it. That's the bike. I think I'm set up better than I ever have been before to do well. I've got some extra plugs and stuff inside of here, but I'm also gonna have some CO2 and plugs in my pocket for a quick fix. Pretty stoked on the setup, and yeah, excited to get racing. Next, we're gonna show you what exactly goes in my pockets. Then we're gonna go fill these bottles up and get to bed nice and early. Do you want to restart it? All right, so we are approaching the evening of Unbound Gravel. Got my last dinner in, and now I just want to show you guys a little bit of my strategy as far as nutrition and what's all going to go inside of my pockets and what I'm going to have at the aid station. So this is going to be what I'm going to start with. So I got 125 grams of Good Life carbs in each of these bottles, and then I have 120 grams of each of these, aiming to finish one of these before aid 1, this one before aid 2, and then my crew, as in Kendra, is going to refill this with 120 more grams, and then she's going to give it to me at aid 3. Start these things here. Aid station 1, we're going to go another 125 grams in here, 75 grams in the small bottle, and then this is just going to be water and electrolytes. Then lastly, at aid station 2, so again we're going to get this gel, this bottle, and then they're going to refill this one as well. So I'm going to have just 50 grams in this one, so that way if my stomach is going, it's just a little bit and I don't have to worry about too much extra carbs. And then again, this one just straight water and electrolytes. So in total, that's going to be 1,010 grams of carbs, give or take a little bit, which is going to equal about 106 grams per hour. So I'll be hitting a little bit higher earlier in the race, and then it'll taper off just a tad in the end. But all in all, if I can even get 90 grams an hour down, I'll be happy. So 90 to 110 is the game plan. So with nutrition out of the way, I want to show you guys what I'm going to have on me. I got the sweet custom bag from Goettl Industries that has all these specific pockets, and it helps me stay organized with what I need. So this first pocket here is going to be everything that goes into my back pockets, plus stuff that's going to go on me. So sunscreen, I'm going to have one CO2 with a pre-threaded on there adapter. I've got a little paint stick. I got some Stan's darts right here to help me plug some tires. And then I have a small little multi-tool just in case something comes loose on the bike or I have to fix something. That is all going to be in my back middle pocket along with my phone, since we have to carry our phone here. In this second pocket, this is going to be all my tech stuff that kind of goes on me. Sunglasses, then I'm going to have my Garmin 1040. I got some headphones, which I might listen to in the morning on the way over there, but I'll hand those to Kendra after, just as I don't think we should be racing with headphones because it's a little dangerous. 200 miles of gravel, gonna want some gloves. I have my GoPro chest harness, which is gonna go underneath my jersey, and then I like to pin it up on top. My Garmin heart rate monitor, and then the GoPro itself here. Inside this next pocket, I have my skin suit. Inside here, got my helmet. Took a little bit of a mission to clean that up. Emporia mud sticks like no other mud. And I got my shoes on this side. So that is everything I need on me. And then the last thing I want to show you, because I would not recommend doing the whole race with just one CO2. I do actually have a CO2 in each one of my U-Sweep packs for some extra backup. And then inside of my MOG, I've got a Tubolito tube that I kind of shoved up in there, so that's that sweet little orange one that's super light. And then in here, I'm gonna have a chain breaker tool, an extra 25 gram CO2, 2 more plugs, and another CO2 adapter just in case one blows up. I've seen it happen before. And yeah, that's gonna be everything I need for Unbound Gravel 2025, hopefully. Not have too much maple syrup on your waffles on race day. It's just not possible. I haven't figured out the buttons yet. You just keep pushing it until it starts going. Usually third time's the charm. Let's see, 3. Oh yeah, third time's the charm.
Joe Goettl making me a coffee before racing 200 miles.
I try to do what I can, you know. You can be out there all day for me, so the least I can do is get you a little coffee in the morning. All right, race number time. It's supposed to be on the left side. Put it right there. Ah, and then I stab myself. I like to do a little bit of light movement, like real light movement. So this is a routine from Pain Academy that's like literally starting on day 1 was my first one, but it just helps me feel more balanced on the bike and like more ready to go. And for me, this one's super important because I had the compartment syndrome. So I have all these scars. They cut me open and mess with my calf muscles. So I have to do a lot of work for my calves to make sure they're still firing good.
Go get him, Joe.
Longest race by far in the series, 200 miles, and well, just because we love you so much, it's actually about 202.5 miles. We get a few points. In 3, 2, 1, Emporia makes some noise.
Alrighty folks, here we are, 4.5 miles inside of the race. Now the start of Unbound is always a bit hectic, getting over that first highway crossing and into that first left turn where the road narrows, and this year was especially so with the orange seal truck getting in the way. Now what I believe happened was the police escorts did not get through that corner fast enough, and as we were coming down off that highway at 38 miles an hour, we just caught up to them faster than they anticipated into the corner. And I can't really say what was right or wrong here for the riders in the front, as if they would have slowed down to stay behind the truck, that probably would have been more likely to cause a crash versus just going around it. But anyways, I believe we all make it through there unscathed, and with the first few corners of the race out of the way, I am feeling a bit more settled in now. So let's break down this year's course, which is actually the same exact course as last year, consisting of 202 miles. My Garmin read 11,900 feet of elevation gain, and with my knowledge from last year, I'm expecting the first decisive moment to come at mile 26.7 with East Kaw Rd, which is an MMR or a minimum maintenance road. And then this will be followed up with the gnarliest section of the first half of the race in Divide Road. After this, we got a few more minimum maintenance roads on the way out to aid station number 1, which comes at mile 70. And these aid stations are definitely a point in the race where splits happen, so we are doing everything we can with the practice we did beforehand to get through here as fast as possible. But after you make it through this, things typically settle down a little bit as everyone is kind of waiting for one of the most decisive roads that comes at mile 104. Little Egypt Road, which consists of 3 super chunky climbs and is notorious for having many people flat out in this section as well. After Little Egypt, it kind of chills out for a little bit until around mile 140, where you do hit some pretty gnarly rollers, and at this point in the day, it's usually pretty hot. So these can really kick you in the tail if you're not prepared and ready for them, leading into aid station number 2, which comes at mile 148. From there, you got to fight a little bit of a headwind until you are welcomed with a nice tailwind for the majority of the last 30 miles into town. So right now, I'm feeling pretty comfortable in the group, and my game plan for this race is pretty similar to last year, in just sticking with the main group of the favorites, trying not to spend any extra energy where I don't need to, but then fight for the positions going into the first 2 minimum maintenance roads, as getting in there fast means you come out of there with the leaders and you are resting, while the people that got in there further back are split off the back of the group and have to spend a significant amount of time and energy chasing back up to regroup. This is what I was able to do last year, and I made it all the way through to Little Egypt, where the race goes off with all of the favorites until I unfortunately flatted out in that section. So pretty much I want to do the same thing this year, and with a little bit more volume in my tires plus silica sealant this year, I'm hoping that I can make it through that section with the leaders and see if I can try and have my day today. And with that, we can check off the first box with coming out of East Kaw Road towards the front with the main group, with most of the favorites in here. The first decisive sector of any race is always pretty nerve-wracking, and this one was definitely no exception, with the TV moto getting a little bit in the way as we entered the road, and then having to avoid a crash down in one of the gullies. However, I know this was really just a warm-up for what lies ahead in Divide Road, and we still have a ton of people in our group, so it's definitely not time to ease up by any means yet. Now, I knew some riders had gotten off the front. However, I didn't realize just how big this break was, with almost 20 guys up the road as we came out of this section. Now, this race has already been quite a bit faster and more difficult, I would say, than last year, as we've nearly averaged 26 miles an hour and I've normalized 324 watts. It seemed like last year after the start, we kind of just chilled and waited for this first section. But this year, with 180 guys in the field and just a lot more depth and talent, there were just attacks going off nonstop, and the pace was full gas all the time. And now with the brakes still up the road from us, we're putting in those same surges and riding at an insanely fast pace as we are heading towards the town of Eskridge. But I know that I got to stay confident in my plan. We still have riders like Keegan, Alexi, Cam Jones, and Toby Rode in our group here. And I know that if I can stay with these guys, there's a very, very good chance we will work our way back towards the front.
It's not that I can be alone.
Here we are at the beginning of Divide Road, and I've gotten myself into quite the mess. I came into this about in the middle of our group, which was not far enough forward, as this is where some bad things can happen. The GCN guy really slammed on his brakes, so I tried to keep it smooth, going off to the left side to both avoid running into him and getting running into from behind. I believe this is Griffin Easter here, who ended up in what looks like a 4-foot deep rut. But anyways, I got stuck in a bad rut and I actually had to unclip to avoid crashing myself. And in this process, I think I got the most unlucky chain drop of my life. I'm gonna pause it right here. And if you look closely, you can actually see that the chain is jammed way up in between my chain ring and my crank arm. At this point, I've already pulled pretty hard to try and get it unstuck, but I have no other option just to pull as hard as I can if I want to see the front of this race again.
Stay calm.
Well, the spirit of gravel must have been watching out for me here, as my chain doesn't break, doesn't bend, and now that I'm riding again, it's running and shifting perfectly fine. In total, I lost 1 minute and 5 seconds here, and while I definitely have my work cut out for me, my legs are feeling amazing, my adrenaline is flowing, and I'm determined to ride as hard as I can and try and make it up to a group that's capable of chasing back to the front of this race. We are now approaching the end of Divide Road, and I'm feeling much better about my position here, as I've just managed to claw my way back onto this group here with Griffin right in front of me. The effort required to make this happen took 11 minutes at a normalized power of 433 watts. Of course, it was not ideal to spend this many matches this early on, but as I was moving through groups of 3 or 4 riders, I knew that none of them were going to make it to see the front of this race again. So I had to keep moving forward until I could find a group like this one, with familiar strong riders such as Griffin Easter, Zach Calton, Mark Spratt, and Chad Haga, who was runner-up at last year's edition of this race. Continuing on the positive side of things, my legs are feeling absolutely amazing, and I am determined to help this group work to chase back to the main group. Now, just for a bit of advice to anyone getting into gravel racing, if you find yourself in a situation like I'm in here, where something outside of your fitness leads to you being dropped from the main group, by all means, use all of your power to help drive that group forward, and it's okay to do a little bit more work than some of the others in your group if you're feeling stronger. However, if you're in this group because you did not have the fitness ability to stick with the leaders, then you don't want to do any more work than anyone else in the group, and when you're pulling on the front, you want to pull at a pace that is sustainable for you. So with my situation here being the former, along with the riders that I just pointed out, I'm okay with pulling hard on the front with these guys, and I'm not going to get too stressed out if a few riders are sitting on the back. I've had this race on my mind for the entire last year as I pushed through the crappy weather of the Salt Lake winter and stayed consistent in my training. I did not come here to settle for anything outside of a top 15 finish after getting taken out of the front group halfway through last year with a flat tire and then coming in to finish 29th place. So staying centered in that goal, I keep my focus here and continue to push forward with this group.
every single song.
Too big, smaller next time, and chain lube next time.
Keep repeating. If you passing by, round the corner meet my eyes. I don't know what we would say, but
I'm assuming that's not the front, right? Probably people who just see. And with that, we've just had our first glimpse of the main peloton ahead of us. Now, our group has worked really well together since Divide Road, but there's about to be a tornado come ripping through it in the form of South African superstar Matt Beers. Word is, he's had a few mechanicals that took him out of the main bunch, and as he goes to the front here to pull, his pace is bringing me closer to my limit than I've been all race long. We enter this next MMR here, which was the muddiest point in last year's race. But this year, we are greeted with some nasty, dried up ruts that want to pull your front wheel right out from underneath you, as you just saw here. Now, this road seems to claim many victims as we pass by one rider after another off to the side with problems. And this eventually includes Matt Beers again with more bad luck as we pass by him right here. The result of Matt's effort has reduced our group down in size, but we still have some good strong riders here, and we continue to work well together until we eventually catch back up to the main peloton. Now, the situation on the road is that we still have most of the favorites in the group, but there's a break of two riders in Cam Jones and Simon Pelot up the road with a significant gap. So at this moment, I'm thinking awesome. While the thought of winning this race would be amazing, I know I'm not quite on that level, and my goal is more or less a top 10 to 15 finish. And with the effort that it took to get back to here after my chain drop, I know that the best thing for me to do is just sit in and try and save as much energy as possible, as we still have about 20 miles to go to Little Egypt. And from my experience last year, there's really nothing significant that's going to split up our group until this moment. Unfortunately, the gravel gods have just not been on my side today, and I feel my front tire going flat down this hill.
To help you.
Yeah, I know. Thank you. I grab my CO2 to see if I can air this thing up quickly, but as I fill it up, I can hear air hissing out, and I just can't seem to figure out where this hole is. After a little bit, the air feels like it stopped, and I think I have enough air in the tire to kind of ride on, but it goes flat again, so I have to stop another time. And even though I know the odds are so against me here, I'm trying to keep the mindset of getting this thing fixed as fast as possible, which means I try and hit it with CO2 one more time. It seems to stop leaking out with still about 20 psi in the tire, so I try and ride forward one more time, but yet again, the tire goes completely flat. So at this point, I stop again and further examine the tire and notice that the air is leaking out of the valve, and my heart just sinks. This is going to require a lengthy fix of putting a tube in, thus taking me out of contention for any shot at the goal I came here with. For a little bit of context, this year's brought on many challenges with bad luck at some of our biggest races. While winning BWR Utah last week was really a dream come true, the harsh reality is that race just did not have a deep enough field to significantly move the needle in terms of what sponsors want to see. Even with the viewership that Ken and I have here on our YouTube channel, many brands still just want results from a Life Time Grand Prix level event to provide the support needed to race full time. My wife and I have absolutely been grinding this out for years to make everything work, taking steps to both improve my athletic ability on the bike and the ability to produce more videos like these. And knowing what a result at a race like this would do for us is just hard to swallow when that gets taken away from factors outside of your control. I know with all the sponsorship talk, it might seem that we're just doing this for the money rather than the love of the sport. And while I won't lie, that definitely directs our decisions from time to time, that's become out of necessity so we can continue on this path towards the goals we have set. Money aside, I've dreamed of being a professional athlete since I was 10 years old, chasing that dream in snowboarding first before pivoting to cycling, and many years later, still being here, chasing that dream. I promise you that deep down, my true goals have nothing to do with money, and I too want to get a result at a race like this one, and I will keep fighting for it until it comes.
Bad flat, tried 302s, had to put a tube in, will need a front wheel. Riding by myself right now, far back.
For today, that is off the table, but as long as my legs are not broken and I have not hit my head, I will continue to press forward with a never give up attitude in every race that I do. So following this flat, I link up with Alex Howes for a quick chat, but then continue to move forward in my endurance zone until I get picked up by a very fast moving group, including Justin McQuarrie, Truman Glasgow, and the main driver of this group's hot pace, Magnus Bach-Klaris of the Pas Normal racing team. Now, while that looked like nothing was really going on there, this is actually the same spot that KEEGAN crashed at, as we see the footage here, and the cause of this was a nasty little cross rut, and this was kind of plagued throughout the course. So many people ahead of time had driven on it that it created these ruts that would change off in different directions, and if one grabbed your front tire and your rear tire made it over it, it would just really want to pull you to the ground. And as we slow this down here, if you look really closely, you can actually see that Magnus got a little ruffled by this. And then as a result, this rider here in front of me just absolutely slammed super hard. So yeah, it was safe to say we did not see him for the rest of the race, but I got super lucky and was able to just split the gap between them and survive to stay in this group. Now at this point, we've ridden through quite a few riders and are working our way up in the field. And in doing this, we've acquired a couple more really strong riders, including this one here, Felix Ritzinger, who if you look real closely, actually has these crazy looking aerodynamic handlebars and stem combo that put him in this almost TT position as he is going down the flats here. And man, when you are behind this guy, it is extremely noticeable, the uptick in pace and hardness to hold onto his wheel. So we are now here at roughly mile 140, approaching those nasty rolling hills I was talking about. And it was at this point last year that I was in a chase group similar to this one right here, and I was not able to stick it out with the strongest guys that had also had issues, as I had a flat tire last year as well. So I'm trying to reframe my mindset and my goal to be like, hey, let's see if the improvements I made in fitness over the year will allow me to stay with these super strong riders, including Magnus and Felix here.
What's your name? Nice to meet you. You're strong as hell.
And just for a little bit of context, Magnus here goes on to win the overall in the Gravel Earth Series, which is a big series of races that goes throughout the world, and a lot of European gravel racers focus on targeting this series. So I'm definitely in really strong company, and yeah, again, just reframe my mindset to see what I can do on the day, see if I can stay with these really strong riders and push my limits a little bit further to know what I might have been capable of had I not had an issue today.
Wheel. Sir?
Want some water in the back?
Yeah, take that one off.
Oh. Joe!
You got your other...
Yeah.
Yeah, then did you...
You want this out?
I want the ice sock in. Okay.
Yeah. All in?
Yep.
Put these in. Put that in.
So your sunglasses?
Do you need an extra CO2?
Yes.
Okay.
There's separate pouches, Joel.
Let's go. You got this.
Hey, do you have like a Coke? Coke? Coke! How's it? Or water or something? Some cold drink. Is that cold?
Yep. Already open for you. You got this right, Hard, okay? Anything else? Okay, you got this. Good job, guys. Joe just rolled through at mile 148, the second feed zone. Got them all taken care of, got a wheel swapped, lubed up the chain, got them all hydrated again. So he's charging to the finish, still averaging above 20 miles an hour, so he's crushing it. And we're gonna head over there and catch him at the finish.
So as you saw back at the aid station, I took a little bit of extra time to make sure I got all the things needed, as I was definitely on my limit over those rollers coming into town. Of all of the riders that were in my original chase group following my flat tire, I was the only one to stay with Magnus as we picked up other strong riders along the way. And in doing this, I made my way from 78th place at mile 80 all the way up to 50th place at the feed zone. Now, our small group that did come into the aid station together got pretty separated, as I think we were all tending to some issues that we'd had out on the course. So you see here, it's just Felix and I, as Brendan got out ahead of us, and I believe Magnus took a little bit more time in the feed as I end up finishing in front of him. Now, this is probably one of the hardest moments of the race. As you come out of the aid, we're faced with a pretty grueling head/crosswind for the next 10 to 15 miles before we get to turn back to town and be greeted by a nice tailwind. And I don't find myself strong enough here to stay with Felix, which is a bummer, but after a bit of reset and finally making it to that tailwind, I feel the legs come on a little bit better and really make my way forward at a pretty solid pace. I'm able to pass Brennan along this way and eventually link up with John Borselman and Ivar Slick, who was the former champion of Unbound a few years back. But right now he's coming back from a really nasty accident involving a collision with a car while he was training, so he's still working his way back into form. Now that we are heading back into town, you might be thinking that sprinting for 47th place is a little bit meaningless, and for some people I totally get it, but for me, doing this means sticking true to my never give up attitude that I've set for myself in this race and pretty much every other gravel race I do, and
One day in the future, I'd really love to be coming into town fighting for a podium finish, so I keep this front of mind as practice for when that day comes, and I prepare myself for one final effort in this race.
All right, I'm back home in Sandy, Utah. It is currently November, so I've had a good amount of time to think and reflect on this race. And there were definitely some big wins and of course some big losses. Starting with the wins, I'm very proud that I was able to maintain my never give up attitude and fight all the way to the finish with everything that I had for the race. And this resulted in another big win, which was my significant increase in power from 2024 to this year's race. Diving into the numbers, I had a normalized power of 317 watts for the whole race, which is a 27 watt increase over last year's normalized power of 290 watts. Also, my average power went from 242 watts all the way to 279, which was a 37 watt increase. And bringing weight into the equation, my average watts per kg of 3.15 climbed all the way up to 3.59, which is about a 25% increase. So across the board, the gain that I've had in fitness from last year to this year and my ability to produce power has been astronomically higher, and I'm so excited about this. However, as good as my power was on the day, there was just no way I was going to come back from the setbacks that I had in the race. Just the effort alone to chase back from my chain drop early on in the race to get back to the front group took a normalized power of 371 watts for over an hour and a half. And this same exact distance segment last year, where I was able to sit in the group and rest in between the MMRs, took me only 312 watts normalized power. And in that chain drop, I only lost 1 minute. Going into the flat tire, I actually lost a total of 12 minutes between all the stops that I made and then having to put the tube in. And that leads me to the biggest loss that I had for the day, was just being very far off my goal I'd set, coming in way back at 47th place overall. And I do know that with all the uncertainties there are in this specific race, there's no way I could have an expectation of a result that I was going to get on the day. But that doesn't mean it's still not tough to swallow when I feel like I had the legs and the numbers to back up that I was capable of much, much more than the finish that I had, and what that result would have meant for Kendra and I's future in this sport. However, we are both all in for this and believe that continuing to progress my fitness through the new strategies and training with Cinch, we will achieve a high-end result at a race like this in the near future. Now, I absolutely love and am passionate about making videos like this one here, but my ability to keep making these hinges on your support. Now, one easy and free way to do this is to just like this video and subscribe to us here at Goettl Media on YouTube if you have not already, and then just share this video with a friend that you think might be interested. The more we can grow our channel, the bigger reach we have, and then the more investment we can get from our sponsors to continue to do this. If you want to go one step further than this, you can support Kendra and I over on our Patreon page with a small monthly contribution, and we put all of those funds into continuing to provide the best quality content we are capable of making from inside these gravel races. Then, as I mentioned before, Cinch Cycling has been instrumental in the fitness gains I was able to make between last year's race and this year's race. And right now, both myself and the coaches on the team
do have availability for new clients for the 2026 season. So if you're looking to reach for new levels of fitness for yourself in 2026, you can get a hold of me down at the email in the description below, or sign up on cinchcycling.cc and then just let them know that I sent you there. So in conclusion, thank you again to each and every one of you for watching up to this point. We've got a couple more race recaps like this one to come, and then I know many of you guys are hopping into indoor training season, so of course we're going to be uploading our loved raw files videos with super long uncut versions of our onboard race footage with data overlay to make those long rides inside a little bit more bearable, so you can keep making fitness gains throughout the worst of the winter weather. So thank you again so much for watching, and remember that when life knocks you down, it's always another opportunity to grow through that process and rise stronger.
And the story to hold, and the faith that you can achieve what's inside your soul. Someday we'll make it on by. Other days we only can try.
These are good.
I actually like this a lot.
People say, either way, we're gonna get. Someday we'll make it on by. Someday. Other days we only can try. Either way, no matter what people say.
I'm holding on to a machine that's a little outside of my league right here.
Know that you can make it all the time, cause they will try to.
Come on, man. Do a little skid around the corner. Do a little skid. Do a little skid. Do a little skid. No skid. Okay, I totally jinxed that guy. That's my bad. That's my bad. You're good, man. You're good.
If you ever notice when you're filming too that his hat's like,
Yeah, crooked, just move
tell
it.
him, because sometimes it just happens.
Yeah, we've had this.
So, I remember. Hey guys, Cameron Moore here with Goettl Media. I am at the top of the famous Little Egypt climb. Yes, indeed. Oh yeah, take a little gander at this thing. This thing you drop in, coming in, it's like double track the whole way through. This actually, right, whatever's behind me right now, that's actually looking pretty dang good for Little Egypt. This looks pretty nice right now. But down in there, there's some big rocks, big chunks to get through. And then at the end, to escape, big old climb, steep climb, probably like 15-20%. Probably takes about 50 seconds to a minute for these pros to get up. Some guy like me, probably 2.5 minutes, you know, something like that. I'm gonna say it, my mustache is looking not too shabby. I hope this sun comes out. I got a little something on there, so glistens in the sunlight a little bit. It's mustache season, man. If we're gravel racing, we're growing mustaches too. Let's go.
Someday we'll make it on by.